All right, guys, we unboxed a couple Ford engines, a GM engine. Now let's go over a Mopar engine, okay? This is part number for it right here. This is a remanufactured 6.4 liter Hemi. All right, let's see how well Dodge holds up compared to the rest. We'll go over this in just a second. But overall, pretty impressed with it, to be honest with you. All right, come on here, let's talk about it. See these right here? This is a great idea, Mopar, that put these in, because those things are pretty pricey, and taking the old ones out, they all break. There's a little magnet at the bottom, and you gotta get a valve. These valves are like $100 pop usually, so they did put brand new, they turn off the cylinders, so they make it a 4-cylinder. That's what these valves are for. And there's an oil control valve they actually gave us also. We'll go over that in a second, which is great. So brand new timing system, sprocket, tensioner, and oil pump. Awesome, great news for that. Of course, you'll have to keep valve covers on. That's the only thing about Mopar I've noticed in Chevy is they don't include the oil pan or valve covers, no, at all. Ford does almost all of their engines, so, which is a big difference. All right, guys, let's go over what Mopar included in this engine. So, engine oil pan gasket, all right? And they give you this bearing is for if you have a standard transmission. So that's be for the input shaft on the transmission to go through here for the support bearing. It would go right here at the back of the crank, but since we do not have a standard option, we don't need that. So the torque converter, the nub will go right there. So that's fine. It comes with the front timing cover gasket. And they give you a bag of stuff. So let's see what we got here. We have a front crankshaft seal. Looks like a bunch. There's a dipstick O-ring for the tube. Oil filter housing gasket. And this is for usually the timing cover has a couple seals you press into it. Those are those. The intake plenum gaskets, valve cover gasket, the other valve cover gasket. And this is an oil control valve. I was telling you about the VVT control valve. They give you this, which is good because that's very pricey also. So what did they leave out? Well, they left out all the EGR gaskets, all of them. So if you do plan on buying this motor and you have EGR, well, you're gonna need all the gaskets for the EGR. They left out the exhaust manifold gaskets and no bolts. If you know anything about these engines, usually the bolts are broken already. But the good news is Mopar came out with a exhaust manifold kit. Comes with the gaskets, bolts, there's a bracket. This is for the passenger side right here. I would get the driver's side, but on this manifold, on the driver's side, it has an EGR pipe going to it, so it's a different design. And so I'll have to just get the bolts and the gasket. The problem is the gasket itself is like $200 something just for a gasket. So Mopar is outrageous. We'll talk about it in another video on their parts. But that is it. That concludes the entire kit. What Mopar gives you, what I like to do is I do not recommend using, this is my opinion, I do not recommend using Champion plugs. I go back with the laser iridium NGK plugs in all my Dodges. They're a 120,000 mile plug. So you can go 120,000 miles, no issues with those. And then I'll get a water pump. Obviously do this kind of work. I need to check on the thermostat actually on this truck for him also. Goes right in front of it. But the water pump, I mean, it's crazy. Mopar, get your stuff together because your prices are nuts. This water pump sells for $600 plus. There's no reason a water pump should be $600. But Mopar is the most expensive, I think, out of anybody. Besides an exotic car, I think Mopar is higher than anybody in the industry right now on parts. They're just too high. I don't know if they have too many middlemen or what's going on, but at the very end, where they sell to the wholesale or consumers, that is the highest I've ever seen anybody. That is so high. Another option, I need to look into a thermostat on this vehicle, see if we can get a thermostat for them. But everything else should be here. We have all the other gaskets. Like I said, I need all the EGR stuff. But the one thing I remembered last time was on the oil filter housing, they left off like one seal. I need to make sure we have all the seals for the oil filter housing. That was an earlier 5.7 maybe a different setup. But that's pretty much it. You know, you can always check your drive belt, tensioner, stuff like that. We can do the job. But everything else is pretty much complete on this one. To the next one. See ya.